Hey, what's up, Facebook family? How are you guys doing today? This is Dawnna St. Louis, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about risk, right? And some of the risks that we take and dare not take. And just in case you guys are worried, I'm not driving, so it's cool. I'm actually in the passenger seat. But I wanted to talk a little bit about risk. Now, most times people always talk about risk and they talk about like these huge, gargantuan, crazy risks, and they talk about these big investments and these giant things that they do. But there are these other risks, these other ways of thinking about things that you're doing, and it helps you think about them just a little bit differently. So, hold on, my phone's making noise. Sorry about that. Okay, so there's another set of risks that you have to think about, and those risks, we don't really even look at them as risks, but they're things that we do on a regular, that we don't do, new experiences that we don't take, and how those really impact us. So here's an example. Before I started being a nomad of the East Coast, my whole life really was based about what I could do in South Florida. Well, there's not a whole lot of mountain climbing or rock climbing, and if you're going to go out in some standing water, you're probably going to get eaten by an alligator. But it's very limited, obviously, to what you would do in a tropical world. And don't get me wrong, I did those things and I enjoyed them. And I would always say the last thing I ever would do is participate in winter. Then as I started experiencing being in the north a little more, things were quite different. And unless I was just going to be homebound during the winter, I really was going to have to start thinking differently about what I wanted to do. And so it was a risk, right, for me to go out and do these things in the winter. Now, for those of you who are from the north, you're like, it's not that big of a deal, Dawnna. For someone like me who, quite honestly, never experienced temperatures below like 55, it was really, really different to be in a place that was very cold for a very long time, and then trying to figure out how to experience different things. So if you've looked back over the history of things that I've posted, I keep talking about having this work-life balance and then having a balance that leans a little bit towards life. So in doing that, I really take time, especially when I'm hanging out with my friends, and we'll go and look at, so what is it on the docket, what's out there that we could do this weekend that we haven't done before. So just by thinking that way, I've done things like gone tubing down the Hudson, right? And here's the other thing. A lot of people always want to use the excuse of money. Oh, well, all those things cost a lot of money. The things that I'm about to tell you, I don't think any of them cost more than $25 a person, quite honestly. So things like going and tubing down the Hudson. I've never done it before. I've never been one to be in freestanding water or water that's moving like that, because I know there's an alligator in there. And it was so funny because when I went in there, the first thing I said was, so what do you guys do about the gators? They're like, we don't have alligators up here, right? My point is it was something to do that was different. Another thing that I did was I went to Howe Caverns. And I literally went down in the caverns, was on a boat on a lake in the cavern, something I hadn't done before. Going and looking at some of the historic forts and just seeing all the stuff that was going on. Just doing some of these things that I hadn't done before. Other experiences. Going and watching arena football. I never watched arena football before. Right? Never ever watched arena football before, and I've gone to probably about 4 games, if not more, this season. I went and saw the girls UConn basketball team in their Final Four. These aren't things that I would normally do, right? But they're so insignificant and they're so minor, right? They're, like I said, we're talking about things that are less than $25. Going to a drive-in movie, right now, I'm going to a lake that I haven't been to before. Why? Because I haven't been there before. These are tiny risks. They're tiny risks. But here's the thing that I will tell you. The more of these tiny risks that you take, the more of these tiny risks that lead to bigger experiences in your life. And there was something that I heard today that I thought was really impactful. We always ask the universe to look, when we look into our future, we are always asking for these big things, right? We want the big car. We want the big job. We want our own business, right? But we forget sometimes to take care of the smaller things, right? We won't take care of our rusty piece of crap car because we want the BMW. And then we're mad that the universe won't give us the BMW, but maybe the universe won't give us the BMW because we're not grateful for the piece of crap car we got right now. I talk to people all the time that struggle and are frustrated about trying to make it as an entrepreneur in just in my world. They're like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do what you do. I want to make the kind of money you make. I want to travel the way you travel. But they're not taking care of themselves or where they are. They're not investing anything into where they currently are in order to get to where they want to be. If you don't take care of the little things that you have now, you're not going to get those big things that you really want. Because it's one of those things, if you remember when you were little, your mom would, be like, why should I buy you this big thing? You haven't even proven to me that you can take care of this little thing. It is the exact same thing. The universe looks upon us and thinks the exact same thing. If you're not taking care of your piece of crap car, why am I going to give you the big sexy car? Right? So it's that initial investment. And that initial investment does have a lot to do with gratitude. And then I'll tell you something that was kind of funny. So every now and then, I'll catch a play, and me and my friend will go to a play. And even if the play is horrible, we 100% appreciate going to the play because we appreciate of all the shit talking we're going to do leaving the play on how bad it was. And we have amazing conversations in regards to how bad a play was. But we appreciate going to that play. Not that we don't appreciate the good ones, but we take care of even the experiences that weren't as great as we wanted them to be. And so there becomes this thing about taking care of things the way they are now so you can have things the way you want them to be. One of the things that I wanted, when I set up Biz on Fire and I set up the Perfect Profit Zone retreat and the Sales Mastery retreat and all the other retreats, one of the things that I said I wanted for years was that I wanted to do events, but I wanted to do them differently. And the reason that I wanted to do them differently, and the reason this was so important to me, was because I was really frustrated by going to the large events, and it just felt like you were drinking from the fire hose, right? Like you were just like constantly being bombarded with so much information, and it was just all of these random puzzle pieces, and then you had to go home and somehow magically figure out how to put them together. And I found that frustrating. And so I kept saying I wanted to do events. I knew that I could do events. I knew I had the value that I could bring to the table. And I also took my love for, I want to be around people who are very actionable and are fearless and want to do things that are amazing. And by the way, I'm going to show this to you real quick. When I talk about going and have new experiences, that is the lake that I'm on my way to right now. And it's absolutely beautiful. So that's where I'm headed. That's where I'm headed off to. But anyway, I kept saying I wanted to do these events and I wanted to do them differently. And so I kept saying, well, it's not about the event. It was about first, how do I get people in the mindset that them wanting this lifestyle? I'm doing events in homes that I basically lived in myself, right? So how do I put people first in the mindset? Well, I said, the best way to put them in the mindset is get them out of a hotel and put them in a place that they want to have or want to be in the future. And that's where the mansion idea came up. I need you to be in that mindset. I need you to wake up every day thinking, yeah, I could totally live this life. And not that you can't, but that you will totally live that life, that you can see yourself in that place. That was the big number one. And then the big number two was not to fill up the agenda so much with so much content that it's just you constantly being, again, drinking from the fire hose. Instead, I'm like, no, I want you to get great content. I want you to have stuff to do. But I also want you to remember that part of this is getting you immersed in the lifestyle. And so that's why another part of it was making sure that we created a lifestyle of adventure that you would actually go and, you know, you wake up in the morning, you come downstairs, you got on your pajama pants, t-shirt, and your fuzzy slippers, and you're getting your own coffee from the kitchen, just like it would be when you live in that same lifestyle. So those things were all really important when coming up with this. And so my point of talking to you guys today was, I just want you to think about what you're doing and ask yourself, what can you do that's just a little different? Even if it's something that you don't think you'll enjoy, what if you just went and just tried it anyway? I have no idea what I'm going to go do by the lake, but you know what? I'm going to go by the lake, and I'll figure it out when I get there. I had no idea what I was going to do when I got in the caverns, but I figured out when I got there. I had no idea whether I would love arena football or not, but you know what? I figured it out once I got there. You know, even one other little thing that we do is I have this thing called a movie pass, and movie pass allows you to go and watch basically a movie a day, I guess, or something like that. I go and watch crap movies just because I can, right? And then if I don't like it, I walk out. I'm like, okay, I didn't want to do that. And I still talk crap about the movie if I didn't like it. So I want you to really think about, how are you creating that experience, taking that tiny risk so that you can have the big rewards in life, making those little investments in yourself so you can do something different. The one thing about, you know, the perfect profit zone retreats and the sales retreats and all the retreats that I do is really to give people an opportunity to have an experience that they haven't had before, to get them to make an investment not only in their education, in what they learn, but in their mindset, and to let them immerse themselves in an experience that they're going, yeah, this is possible. Because once you know, it's one of those things that you never believe you can fly until you get on a plane. Then you don't understand how you couldn't. It's getting you there. Anyway, you guys have a fantastic weekend. I am getting ready to go and check out the lake because I'm all parked. And I hope you have a great one. And again, just think, what can you do differently? What are you taking care of today for tomorrow? And what can you do differently that you haven't done before? It's the tiniest of risk, but it'll have a huge impact on your life. Have a good one.